Virtual space is a very interesting space where everyone can be who they want to project. Doesn't mean everyone is who they are. We have authentic people and we have fake people. We have authentic creators, we have fake content creators. At the end of the day, it's discernment that will help you be able to choose which is which. We have those ones who will portray their money and wealth, but when you do your own math, you realize it's caught up in money laundering, caught up in trafficking, humankind kind of things, and other nefarious activities. And maybe that could be a code of how they connect with their others within that space of nefarious things. And people have relationships, but nowadays people can buy relationships whereby someone can decide, I need ABCD, and for me to reach to ABCD, I will need someone who will be able to look like we are together. I'll pay for this service. And this person says, fine, X amount is passed. The person is able to be seen as your partner for X amount of time as they get their money and everyone goes their ways. And people are left to believe this is a genuine couple, but it's not. One gets to be paid. Just like some of the marriages, like the lavender type, whereby it is a couple where either each or one of them is within the LGBTQ plus community, and they say because there's pressure from family, pressure from society for them to settle down as a heterosexual couple. So they say, hey, you know who I am. I know who you are behind closed doors. Let's have this marriage. People see it. Let's even have a child in the process. So we mask out who we are behind the scenes, and on the front, we are a couple, and people do it, and they'll be everywhere. They'll be in leadership position, churches, wherever it may be, only for the child to come and find out this uncle and this auntie who keeps visiting is not actually uncle or auntie. They're just partners of their folks, whether they are one-sided or they play both sides, whichever way. The fact still remains, people can always mask out who they are out here. And discernment is very important, and it's very important not to idolize anyone because you really don't know. We have the experts who will give you all the best relationship advices, marriage advices, and all types. But sadly, some of them could be victims or some of them could be the actual perpetrators. You really never know the story because everyone can mask anything in order to survive. Everyone, we always told, bring out the best in you. When you bring out the best, it does not mean that you don't have parts of you that are not there. But it's just lights, camera, action, just like the entertainment, lights, camera, action. Once you see that, you already know how to get into character. It doesn't mean you are that character, but you know how to be in character for X amount of period of time. And the show goes on, and only you are left, and those may be very close to you who know who you really are. And that is very important to discern how we live on the online space. There are things we can say and do and believe you have no consequences. You can go hate, you can go attack, you can say all these words that are hurtful to an individual, and your actions may seem to you like misery loves company, and you're angry, and you always say, well, nobody knows who I am, I'm just a keyboard warrior. But to forget one thing, it will take someone who's very keen on you to just be able to track who you are from the comment section to your profile, and others will even get your IP address, and the next thing you have a knock on the door, whether it's someone within the security agency or someone within the who has intent against you for what you've done. Others will find a particular type of content and maybe is within cheating, and they're saying, I've never gotten caught here, and they just release their floodgates of confession, believing that nobody will ever catch them. Someone else thinks, I think I've seen this name before, screenshots it, forward it to your partner like, and then they do their own due diligence, and then they realize, okay, so these keys are not mine, fine. So this is not mine, fine. And then one day out of the blues, you're left. No communication, no nothing. Person is gone. And when you do more follow-up, they ask you, are you so-and-so on this so-and-so? Yes. Did you write so-and-so on a particular time? Something like this? Yes. What did you write? ABCD. Thank you. And it's done. That's for the mature people, don't need the whole argument. You have the other ones who will decide, oh, it's all gloves off. So at the end of the day, everything we do, even when we get invited to a podcast or go to a podcast, sometimes discernment is key. Yes, sometimes you might say some things, but always remember, whatever you say, you can always defend, should it go sideways. So we live in a time and a space whereby we need to be very careful and cautious of what we do in the online space. As much as we call it free, it's free. Yes, you can download your app free. You can write your thoughts free. You can do ABCD. But caution is advised, because as much as we may think everything is free, it's never free. All these hubs have their moderators. All these hubs have their censorship. All these hubs have, all this information goes to a server. And there are companies that have invested in all these apps. So what have they invested in? Maybe they invested in data. How far do you know that their type of things that you write and you do does not fall in X amount of company, which then sells your data to another type of company, and they can get the nitty-gritties of what you're doing? Because we always assume these things, these servers are, somewhere, it's done, it's protected. How do you know? You're just an entity. Their social media app is in business. You either commenting or writing or sharing, you're part of the digital space that feeds into this company. There are companies that have invested in your data. There are companies, and you have the whole AI thing whereby it's watching, is learning how humans interact and attack one another and love and all those human interaction, and it's getting fed. So at the end of the day, doesn't matter how smart we think we are, caution is always advised on all these apps. Because you see, when I'm out there and you utter a word to someone and it's not recorded, you can easily deny it. But if there's a camera, it's going to be tricky. And we are in a time in life where you need to be even extra careful, another layer of caution. Because now we have CCTV cameras, which originally the intention is for security purposes. However, people have realized, I can also use it to spy on other people around me. And considering some of these CCTV are even have more features, to an extent that they can literally hear the voice of the person around. I mean, but to a particular area, they can be able to get the frequency and get the wording of what you're saying. There are things you can say and do, and someone thinks, I can use this for content, and they may decide not to upload it from their direct place, but to send it to another individual who then uploads it. And then your private conversations and your actions are now in a digital space. And people in another space, they are commenting and writing and sharing. And then someone tells you, did you say ABCD? I said, I never did anything. But they send it to you. And then you realize, I'm cooked. And sadly, whatever words you said and thoughts you shared are very sensitive. And now you're cooked, because now you have to defend yourself, and you just never know. So as much as it looks free, nothing is free. Nothing has ever been free. It takes an effort. It takes something. There are people who put in their work to make sure that these types of content, move the way they move. Caution is always advised, because the internet never forgets. You may say, I'm young, I have my body, I can do this, I can post this, I can write this, I can yeah, and you release all those scandalous kind of, or be ratchet and all those things, and you're proud of it. And let's say life moves on, you change, you become, a better person, transformed, or maybe trying to be transformed. And then your little child, whom now you're trying to make sure they never get into that type of life, ends up getting this content from someone they should have never received it. Someone says, hey, I think this looks like your dad. Oh, wait, this looks like your mom. And the child looks at it and like, yikes, this is my mom. This is my dad. And there, that child's life is damaged there and then. And then the one child who was never into drugs is now hard on it, because they're trying to dissociate from you. Everything we do on this online space, we should be very careful. We may think we have no consequences, but it does have consequences. We can't get tracked down through IP addresses. We can't get, if a system wants to, and the hackers want to. Let's be very careful how we handle this space. It's like a market space. Everyone is selling a product, and there are different competitors for a product. There's someone who's selling vegetables. There are many vendors selling the same vegetable at different prices. So in this space, when you're getting into particular content, like you're choosing, I like this one, has a better pricing. I like this cabbage, it looks fresher than the other one, or it has more weight than the other one. It's still cabbage. They're still vendors. But at the end of the day, you're choosing your best preference. It doesn't make any difference of what the item originally is, but you have a preference over it. And that's why in everything that we do in life, choices have consequences. Our words burn, our words build, our words destroy. Everything we utter brings an impact. How many times are you just in your own small space and you get some type of information and it does make a very big impact in your life? It could be a clip of 2 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 1 hour, 2, 3 hours. And once you get that content, your view and perspective of life changes. Now, if something like that can happen, or you hear or you watch something and you start, being a fan or a follower of a particular individual because of the type of content and messages they relay, yet this person, you never knew them, or maybe you once hated them, but now you're looking at the type of content they are releasing, you're thinking, I kind of flow with this type of content. You see, at the end of the day, that person has made an impact. Their content was based on words. Words were uttered. Or maybe words were not uttered. Maybe it's just visual. Let's say there's no speech in it. But the fact still remains to get the message. It does bring an impact. Social media apps or the internet space has so much information. And with that means there are so many people in that particular type of market. There's someone who are selling legit products and there's someone who are selling fake products. You really never get to know that sometimes, because sometimes you can buy an apple and you're in a rush. And let's say the side that's rotten is on the back side or it's on the lower end. And you look at only the first end. Like, let's say there are 6 apples packed in a bag, or in whatever package it is. So the bad one is in between. The rest are good. Or 3 are bad. Or 4 are bad, 2 are good. But they've been placed strategically, so when you pick it up, you can look at it. Only when you go to a house and realize, wait a minute, I only have one good product. When you look at the others on the lower end, you're like, yikes, I actually lost that. So that's how the online space also is. We have packaging where there's content, packaging or whatever content it is packaged. It's packaged for a particular niche. And if you fall into a different niche, and again with the likes of algorithms, you might end up picking a product that wasn't intended for you. And now, here you are. Let's look at algorithms, for example. You can click or like or share particular content. One. Next thing you know, you have a floodgates of things that are quite similar to it. Does it mean that you originally wanted that thing? No. Maybe you just passed by and you're like, either you intentionally clicked a like or unintentionally, but there's a tap on it. And now when you're just chilled out, you start seeing. And that's why the online space is very dangerous at the same time, because let's say you're going through depression and you're going through anxiety and things that are really breaking you, and you fall into that type of content from the context of it being glorified instead of it finding a healing and a therapeutic way to handle it. And then you start finding content, then you tap, you're like, oh, someone like me, they think like me, they heart like me. And then you tap, you like, maybe even comment. And then all of a sudden, you start getting a floodgates of the same type of content now to the extreme end of it. Now you have a floodgate, and now your mood shifts immediately from someone who was down to very down and start out contemplating, do I really need to be in this world? Do I really? Now the type of content you're saying is promoting, whether they will use animation, whether it be people just sharing, the thing remains, it floods. And that's why the internet space is always scary, because with algorithms, you can never really predict. And with content, you cannot, because you can't still regulate all types of content. which they are doing, trying to censor here and there those who speak the truth. But the fact still remains that people will share. And since social media has become the in thing, more apps will still come. That means more content will still come. That means it will flood even your little child. That's why it's never advised for a minor, mostly within at least 10 years, at least even 13 years and below, to be very careful giving them these gadgets. Unless it's your gadget, unless it's a particular form, which, I mean, you just need to be careful because they can stumble on. Even us who are others are still getting lost in the online space. Yet even the little children are more tech savvy in a way, but the maturity and the emotional stability, they don't have it. We are better placed on that. But even us who are better placed are hit so hard that our world changes. Right now, hate speech moves like fire. So if a particular incident happens, people of a particular race or community or economic class are attacked and they're told, you are the people, this is happening. Let's say right now, like where we've reached a point, it's quite sad. Someone loses their life. And people start saying, see, you people should have gone where you came from. You people should have done this. It's you people, it's always a you. You. If this happened, it was you. It's you. Everything is you, it's you. No one is saying, hold up. Just relax. Why the hatred? Why? And sometimes you look at some of these people with the hatred and you just say, let me check this one. It's too much hatred. You look at their profile like, I love God. Jesus is my everything. Think, hold up. You believe in God, others, whoever you believe in, and you're like, but I thought, your kind of religion or faith is about love and peace. Why are you so much hating? Because people always forget that those few taps you make is just you signing off your identity of who you really are. And so it's sad because now the victims, with this social media, the victims and with algorithms, the victims end up having something stumble on their gadget. And with bloggers and everything is now even moved on to another niche. And now even mainstream medias have kind of joined the club. So they'll also pick without verifying some of these things. And now you find your family is out there and you are victims of something, but now you are being blamed for being victims. And someone will say, no, this person are the people put their names there, or this or that. But that's the wrong information. And so by the time you say, let me pursue trying to, set up my own type of information to nullify what has been given, by the time you're doing all that damage control or even taking legal action against, a lawsuit against wherever the origin of this information comes from, the damage is done. The damage is done emotionally, mentally. And even when someone has gone and it's been buried, people are still saying, no, this person, there should never have been done this. So the thing is, just because you have an opinion and just because it sounds right, it sounds like you can say whatever you say, ask yourself this question: if the tables turned, would you be comfortable? Because we live in a very interesting time where people just want to say whatever they want to say and feel justified. And they forget one thing: when you point a finger at anyone, this is one finger you're pointing at one person, right? But if you look on that end, how many are pointing back at you? 3. You have 1 to the person you're pointing, but 3 are pointing back. So who's the fool? Is it not the one who's pointing the finger? Because you are saying, I'm okay, I'm perfect, yada, yada, yada. But you have 3 pointing back at you, meaning you have a problem, meaning you need help. But you don't see that because you want to justify. So the internet, social media is a good space. It has its benefits. You can learn so much positive. That is if you're in the right section of the market, in the right section. But it takes one click, one word, one share, and everything goes wrong. So it's always important to remember, just because no one can see you on the other side of the screen doesn't mean that your words and your actions don't have an impact positive or negative on the other end. So caution is always advised. Whatever you do on the online space, let maturity be the one to lead you, not your emotions. Because your emotions can make you think that no one can see you, no one can identify you. It's wrong. You actually can be identified, you actually can be traced, you actually can be picked from wherever you are. It's not rocket science. All these investors who are investing in this social media and all this data, you are telling me that intelligence communities, if they want, and they want really to pick you from where you are, you think they can't? They can. You can't hide once you're in that space. So it's very important to be very cautious. Just because we are using the internet, it's important to always remember what we say and what we do is recorded completely. And it's important to always remember how our actions and the things we do have an impact, whether negative or positive. Just because you can't be seen doesn't mean you're not seen. Just because you think you're not being heard doesn't think someone isn't hearing you. It's just a matter of time, space, and everything you do will either have a positive or a negative impact. And whatever the consequences of these two are, you will receive it in due time. Might not be today, may not be tomorrow, could be a decade to come or 2 decades to come. The fact still remains. Every action and reaction we do on the online space has its consequences. It's just a matter of time before it catches up with you. So let's be wise, let's discern, let's know that everything that we do has an impact on someone's life or a community. And the worst that could happen is that your words, as fun as you thought it was, destroys another life. Then you have to pay the price for all those people endured, directly or indirectly. So let's use our words and our actions and this space to do things that will help one another instead of destroying one another. What does it benefit you when you see another one fallen and you could help him or her rise and be able to do something together? There's a reason we are all intertwined in one. We may be different races, ethnicities, different religions or faith beliefs. But at the end of the day, one thing is a fact. We are all humans and our blood is red. So we may hate one another on many things, but those are the facts. We have organs, internal organs, part of being a human. So we can hate each other on colors, we can hate each other on race, ethnicity, whatever it may be. But the fact still remains, you are human. We all have blood. It doesn't hurt to love and to appreciate and respect and to know the boundaries. Just because you can't see the other person on the screen does not give you the justification to go and do harm into another person or utter words of harm when you can either be silent or speak something positive or just don't even indulge. But that is a choice, a mature choice. Let's use our places wisely. May God guide us all.